Module 16, Case Study, The Budget Debacle. This is for EDL 854 Educational Finance. My name is Nathaniel McGee. So Section 1, kind of a summary of where this occurred. It's in Briardale Elementary, which is located in the center of a diverse town. The school building is commonly used for community events. It has a population of 600 students, which makes it pretty average for the school district compared to the other 5 elementary schools in the district. I think they range from 500 to 800 was the highest on student enrollment. It's a well-established teachers with very little turnover each year within staff. Each of the elementary schools have a curriculum that's focused on basic skills. And because of that, they have a highly competitive foundation in each one of the elementary schools. They compete against one another to raise money for curriculum support. It's said in the past that there was some misunderstandings on how money was allocated out to the community, out to the different schools, and so it's kind of caused some competitiveness between the 6 foundations. The money from the foundation is then turned over to the principal once it is raised, and it's placed in an account. The foundation, made up of parents and patrons, make recommendations on how to use the money, and the principal agrees to it and also forwards the recommendation for approval by the approval by the curriculum committee made up of teachers. It's kind of an afterthought, is kind of the way that they described it, that the principal agrees to it, and because he's supposed to send it on to the curriculum committee, it gets sent on to them. The summary of who. First of all, the principal's name is Carlos Santos. He is the building principal. He's very confident and competent principal. And then you got Mr. Burley, who is a parent that's new in the community, and he was selected as foundation president. He is an intelligent man. He's been a Harvard graduate and has a great idea from his fraternity days on how to raise money. He also has one of his former fraternity brothers as one of the other presidents of another elementary school's foundation within the district. There's an anonymous tipster in this case study who was very knowledgeable about the law and or how the fundraiser was being managed. And then, just like every fundraiser, it involves community members, students, and stakeholders. Summary of what and when. Mr. Barely had the idea of having a raffle for cash, and all the members, and Mr. Santos as well, the principal, supported it. On the night of the drawing, the police showed up and asked Mr. Barely to go to the police station, where he was booked and released. And then later that week, Mr. Barely was convicted of a misdemeanor and sentenced to probation. It occurred while fundraising, and as far as when, the police showed up and asked him to accompany them to the police station before the first ticket was read, or as it was being read. Legal and ethical issues. It is unethical to look at the approval of the curriculum committee as arbitrary or unneeded. Mr. Santos kind of approves everything and doesn't push it to the curriculum committee. He really should use that more. He should use that, lean on the curriculum committee more for support on what the money should be used for, or whether they agree to it or not. It is not legal or ethical to have a raffle for cash at a school. It's can be considered a form of gambling. It is unethical to have a school official booked on criminal charges, and now it's unethical if the money is not refunded back to the patrons who bought the tickets. One sentence synthesis. Due to oversight and ignorance of the law, a school foundation president has been charged with a crime related to a raffle for cash event. Got a synthesis of the facts. As far as people, Mr. Barely was new to the community and the president of the foundation. Mr. Santos was the principal, but we're unaware of his knowledge related to raffles in schools. We don't know how knowledgeable he is on that. It is known that the information was given to the police by a tipster, but it is unknown who tipped off the sheriff. It is apparent that there is a legal issue within the state or local government concerning a raffle, but we aren't sure exactly what the law is, and we know Mr. Barely was booked. We are not sure why. Continuing with the synthesis of the facts, when it comes to the place, we know that this is a sizable town, especially now that's compared to Kansas towns. It takes a sizable town to have 6 elementary schools and 2 middle schools. We know that it is a town of a diverse background. We know that the state that this town is located in. We don't know what state the town is located in, sorry. And we don't know where the money was stored during this fundraising event, but I doubt that that's really an issue, or really the issue here, being that Mr. Barely was only charged with a misdemeanor. It would be much more severe if it was fraudulent or embezzlement. And then the program, we know that this involves a foundation which was made up of parents that help raise money to support curriculum. We know that it's one of the 6 elementary schools in the district, and we know that we don't exactly know how many parents or people are members of the foundation and therefore agreed to this fundraiser, and we don't know how much money was collected during the fundraiser, and that could be an issue. However, I doubt that that's the reason why he was arrested, because of the way that he was caught. It wasn't a tax evasion issue. It was a legality issue. Then the review and prioritize the information. An event like this can be extremely damaging in the eyes of stakeholders and can cause the foundation to no longer be permitted, which would ultimately hurt the children. Mr. Santos needs to know more detail about what caused the arrest and release a statement that helps explain what happened before people in the community start making their own assumptions about why Mr. Barely was arrested. As far as some possible options and consequences, so if option 1 is make no change and let the situation take care of itself. Option 2 would be to issue an apology to the community, return the money, learn from the experience, and put more control of the fundraising in the hands of the curriculum committee. It would ultimately kind of phase out the foundation's fundraising role. And then option 3 would be to issue an apology to the community, return the money, educate the foundation about the legal aspects of fundraising, and learn from this experience and try to move on. I think option 1, I don't think you can do that. I think when you have an event that is as damaging to the reputation of the school as this, you can't. It's just not a practical option to just sweep it under the rug and forget about it. Option 2 might be a little too extreme. It would cause some hard feelings with when the foundation, when the foundations from the other 5 schools are no longer allowed to fundraise to support the students. They did nothing wrong. And also in today's world, it's kind of hard to get parents to volunteer, and the last thing you want to do is turn down good help and good volunteers. I think option 3 would be the best option. It's probably the best option to not only repair the reputation of the school and foundation, but also help prevent similar actions or similar fundraisers from happening. It will require a lot of work, however, and it may be even require the help of a lawyer to assist in the training process. Section 8 is choosing the best option. Once again, I think option 3 would be the best, although I don't like the competitiveness of the 6 different foundations. I would like to see them all work together to raise money to support the children, not just work against each other to raise money for their particular school or their particular child. But that doesn't justify dissolving the whole system. And it does justify better awareness of everyone about legal aspects of fundraising within a school. This would be kind of an eye-opening experience. Then implementing the action plan. So my step 1 would be discuss the events and the plan of action that I've put together with the district administrators, including the superintendent. Lean very heavily on their advice and kind of perfect the plan of action. Step 2 would be to return money to the people who purchased the raffle tickets. I think you got to get that money back in their hands as quickly as possible. There was no winner established, and I think that you'd have a lot of people upset if they didn't get their money back. Step 3 would be to then issue the apology to the community and families of the students via newspaper, website, mail. I don't think you should send a letter home with students, but I think you can mail out a district letter to each of the families of the students. Step 4 would be to research laws within the state in regards to gambling and raffles, and contact the school district attorney if you have any more questions. The school district attorney may be needed to be more involved in helping to train the foundation as well. Step 5, take the newfound information about the state laws to the foundation meeting prior to the next fundraiser and annually from here on. I think a training yearly on what is ethical and what's allowed as far as fundraising would be vital to make sure this never happens again. Step 6, you need to be cautious of approving fundraisers that leave a winner to chance, and make sure to never let something like this slip through again. Obviously, this was supported by a lot of people and nobody saw it coming. And so it's important that everybody involved is more cautious. And then step 7, move on and realize mistakes happen and it's not the end of the world. Thank you.